Hello there, fellow math enthusiasts. Today we're going to talk about the area of a square and rectangle. So first of all, just to kind of go ahead and define area. Area refers to the number of square units that go ahead and fit inside of a figure. The units are always going to be squared. So for example, you may see something like centimeters squared, or inches squared, or feet squared. Whatever the unit is, it is going to be squared. Okay? Now, when we talk about our area of a square, we can say A is equal to S squared, the side squared. Okay? Or we can simply do base times height. All right? But the idea of S squared, it means it's taking one side length and it's multiplying it by the exact same number because all four sides of a square, they are equal to each other. So for example, if we have the square that has a side length of 12, to figure out what the area is going to be equal to, we can say area is equal to 12 squared. Or again, if you want to write it as 12 times 12, it's the exact same thing. Either way, when you go ahead, you punch that into your calculator, you can do 12 and then click on your squared button and then click enter and you'll see that you've got the 144. So area is equal to 144 and our label here is going to be meters squared. Looking at number 2, if one of the side lengths is 8, that means all of the side lengths are 8. So area is equal to 8 squared, or 8 times 8. Area is equal to 64 feet squared. And then number 3, if the side length is 11, that means all the side lengths are 11. So area is equal to 11 squared. That's going to give me 121 inches squared. All right, now we're going to go ahead, we're going to work backwards here. Number 4, I'm now telling you that the area of the square is 100 feet squared. I want to know what is the length of a side. So I'm going to start, especially my word problems, out by writing out what the actual equation is that I'm dealing with every single time. That's going to help make sure that I have the problem set up correctly, and I'm going to be able to figure out exactly where the numbers go when we're plugging them into the equation. So the area is 100 feet squared. That 100 is taking the place of A. 100 is equal to S squared. Now I've got to get S all by itself. To undo a square, I've got to take the square root. The square root of 100 is 10. Now we're talking about a side length here. It is 10 feet. It's not 10 feet squared. Area is squared. When we're talking about a length, a height, we're talking about just a single unit. You wouldn't go around saying, ooh, I'm 5 feet squared tall. That doesn't make sense. You'd say, I'm 5 feet tall, and however many inches go along with that, okay? So in this case, the side length is just 10 feet. Now take a look at number 5. The area of the square is 49 millimeters squared. We want to find the length of a side. So area is equal to side squared. The area is 49 millimeters. So 49 is equal to S squared. Let's go ahead and undo the square by taking the square root. The square root of 49 is 7. That is 7 millimeters is the length of the side. Now we're also going to go ahead and talk about the area of our rectangle. The area of our rectangle is base times height. We multiply how long the base is by how tall it is, and that's how we'll figure out the area of our rectangle. So let's go ahead, let's flip it on over, and let's take a look at some examples. If we have our area, we want to find the area of our triangle that is 11 feet wide and 7 feet tall. We can say A is equal to 11 times 7. That is the base times the height. The area is going to be equal to 77 feet squared. All right, look at number 7. Notice that the base up here is 6. Well, doesn't that mean that the base down here is also going to be 6? It doesn't make a difference whether you see it on the top or on the bottom. Either way, you're going to be multiplying one dimension by the other one. A is equal to 6 times 22, which is going to give us 132 meters squared. All right, and then number 8, the base times the height. Area is equal to 14 times 8, which means we're going to get 112 inches squared. All right, now we go ahead, we take a look at our word problems. The area of the rectangle is 54 yards squared. If the base of the rectangle is 6 yards, I want to go ahead and find the height. So let's start off by writing out what our formula is. A is equal to B times H, and let's plug in the numbers that we know. The area is 54 yards squared, that's my A. The length of the base is 6 yards, there's my B. And I want to find the height, that's the variable. So I have 54 is equal to 6 times H. To get H all by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 6. 54 divided by 6 is going to give me 9 yards. Again, when we're talking about a height, when we're talking about a length, it is a single unit. Area is the only one that has the squared unit. Now look at number 10. The area of a rectangle is 66 meters squared. The base is 11. I want to find the height. Let's start off with our formula again. A is equal to B times H. Well, the area is 66. The length of the base is 11. And we're looking to find the height. So we want to get the H all by itself. I'm going to divide both sides by 11. And I'm going to see that the height is going to be 6 meters. Now we can take these different shapes, we can put them together into what we call a composite figure. All right, these composite figures will typically go ahead and be able to divide them down into different types of squares, rectangles, sometimes triangles we'll see as well. All right, to go ahead and be able to find the total area, all we have to do is find the area of the two little pieces and then go ahead and add them together. So if we take a look at number 11, I want to be able to find the area of this entire L shape right here. And notice I've already gone ahead and I've divided it into two separate rectangles for you. For both of those rectangles, we're going to have to go ahead and find the area of both of them and then add them together. Let's look at this first rectangle. I see that this first rectangle is 10 meters tall, but notice I don't see how wide it is, what the length of the base is going to be. I do see that this entire base here is 14. And if I look up above, I have that this piece here is 8. Well, if this whole piece is 14 and this is 8, it means it's 8 down here as well. Couldn't I go ahead and say, well, to find this blue piece that I'm outlining, 14 minus 8, I'm going to see that the width of that rectangle is going to be 6. So I can say 6 times 10. That's for my first one. That's going to give me 60. And then if I want to figure out what the area of the second rectangle is going to be, well, I already know that the base of it is 8. I got to figure out how tall it is though. So I'm going to erase what I have highlighted here. I got to figure out what this distance is right here. All right, well, let's take a look at some of the numbers that are on the vertical. I see that this entire piece is 10. And over here, I see that this guy is 6. Well, the green and the blue put together are going to make up my yellow. If part of it is 6 and I need to get to 10, well, 10 minus 6, I'm going to see that the height is going to be 4. 8 times 4 is 32. And like I mentioned before, all we have to do now is add those two pieces together, and we're going to see that the total area is 92 meters squared. All right, look at number 12. I've got 3 different pieces now that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about. Here is my first rectangle that I'm going to deal with. I see that it's 4 tall and it's 3 wide. So 4 times 3, I'm going to have 12. I'm going to call this one here my second one. It's 3 wide and 3 tall, so 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. And then here's my third one. I do see that it's 3 tall, but I have to figure out how wide it is. Well, this is 3 inches, this is 3 inches, and this is 3 inches based on these pieces right here. So 3 plus 3 plus 3, I'm going to see that it is 9 wide. So 9 times the height there is 3, which will give me 27. And then I can add together 12, 9, and 27 to get that that is 48 inches squared. Now 13, notice that I haven't gone ahead and actually divided it up for you. But we could go ahead and just draw on a line right there. And again, I've got 2 separate rectangles. A lot of the times you just want to kind of cut off a part of it and see if you can go ahead and find the area of the smaller pieces. So let's look at this first rectangle. I do see that it is 6 wide, but I don't know how tall it is. Over here, though, it says that this distance is 4 and this distance is 5. So if I go up 4 and then up another 5, together that's going to give me 9. So base times height, I've got 6 times 9, which will give me 54. And then for my second one, I see that it is 6 wide and 5 tall, so I can say 6 times 5, which will give me 30. If I add those two up, I've got that that is 84 feet squared. All right, number 14 then, I want to go ahead, I want to see if I can divide some stuff up. I'm just going to kind of try and draw some lines straight down here and see what happens. This first rectangle, well, I see that it's 10 high and it's 4 wide, so I can do 10 times 4, which will give me 40. This second one, I don't seem to know how tall that one is, but I could figure that out because I know that this piece here is 8. This piece here is 2. Then I'm going to put this guy here in green. This little 2 plus my green piece has to add up to 8. So 8 minus 2 is going to give me 6, which means that it is 6 tall and 5 wide. So 5 times 6 will give me 30. And then for my third piece, I see that it's 3 wide, that it's 8 tall. 3 times 8 will give me 24. I can add up all of those and I will see that it is 94 meters squared. All right, so we've gone ahead, we've talked about the area of our square. We talked about the area of our rectangle. Area will always have a square unit. When we're talking about the base or the height, it will always have a single unit. It will not be squared, only the area is squared. So Del's Audi is done for today. I will see you in class.